There are some who say that we are in the midst of another construction boom. I would not go that far. What I will say is that construction is picking up in the country.
Confidence in the economy of Trinidad and Tobago is increasing, although there have been challenges, much like the rest of the world. There are positive signs. The non-energy sector experienced positive growth of 2.0%, with the finance sector and the distribution sector leading. The construction sector, though not experiencing a boom, has seen increased activity over the last 2 years.
Trinidad and Tobago is in a good position right now economically. I think we have seen the back of a decline. We have moved into growth in 2012, and in 2013 we are likely to see an intensification of that growth. And what we have been doing in town and country planning is working with the bigger developers in the country to try to get some of these construction projects going.
Employment in the construction is just over 100,000 workers, and this can see a boost as major construction projects get on the way, led by private contractors and investors all over Trinidad and Tobago.
This project was planned probably about 5 years ago, and we had sent in for planning approval to town and country, and we met incredible amount of obstacles.
We tried to get the town and country to approve the project maybe since 2008, but we couldn't get our approvals. And finally, we got our approvals late last year.
Understanding the importance of the construction sector to the economy, the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development, through the Town and Country Planning Division, is re-energizing its process and cleaning up backlog to drive the sector further.
We have set up in the Ministry of Planning, under the Town and Country Planning Division, a committee made up of institutions throughout the governmental system, and which includes WASA and TNTEC, the EMA and the other institutions, all of which go into the process of facilitating development. We brought them together with Town and Country Planning to work with developers to make sure that we can get decisions within a reasonable time and that we can move forward with construction in the country.
The Town and Country Planning Division is clearly working full speed ahead to facilitate the increased activity in the construction sector. In this segment, we continue to look at the thrust of the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development to drive the construction sector. Let's take a look at how the expressed confidence in the economy impacts on national development.
There's no doubt, Kevin, that we are seeing an uplift in the economy. Several indicators affirm that. One is that we have a Heritage and Stabilization Fund that's at $5.4 billion, and we have not drawn down it. Our import cover is 13 months. We have approximately $9.8 billion in import cover. Unemployment continues at less than 6%, approximately 5.4%. We've had 2 or 3 quarters of positive growth. Q4 of 2012 and Q1 of 2013 at 1.6%. The stock exchange, the TTSE, you've seen an improvement in the stock exchange of 5.8% in the oil composite index, and in the TTSE, you've seen an improvement of 7.8%. And the volumes of trade have also increased at $40.9 million at the end of 1H. So there's some positive signs in the economy. We have to be careful because, in my view, respectfully, there's still tenuous shoots of growth, and we have to get the economy up to a stage where we're growing at 3 to 4% per annum, where there's sustainable growth and competitiveness.
But quite frankly, I feel confident, and I find the economy in Trinidad was not affected by the economic problem they have in the States or worldwide, what's going on in Europe. Trinidad maintain a good, stable financial environment. And it was encouraging for me, especially with the assistance we're getting from the government with approvals, with the help any businessman or any construction company want to do. Well, we feel, I feel relaxed and confident, and we're getting a good support as private sector, or in my personally, I'm feeling comfortable with what's going on now.
The construction industry and which is, you know, what leads, if you will, and which is the obvious expression of confidence in a country, I think has been, if you will, long held back by the sort of obstacles and log jams that I described to you. So I think people were just trying, waiting to do the investment. I think now everything has become much easier, and I think because of that, I think we're seeing a lot more buildings. You know, you're seeing the cranes and you're seeing the steel structures going up. Much more commonplace than before, and I'm sure it's going to become more than that as well.
The Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development, through the Town and Country Planning Division, continues to play an overall role in the physical development of Trinidad and Tobago.
I think that some of what you will see happening in the country, whether it is in Port of Spain, whether in the southern part of the country, whether in central, in east or in west, what you are beginning to see is that the construction industry is picking up because permissions have been granted, the public servants have been hard at work, a collaborative environment has been created, and people are willing to build and to start their construction projects and to contribute to the economy because they now have the confidence that the economy is going upward and forward, and secondly, they also have the support of the facilitative entities of the governmental system in Trinidad and Tobago, led by Town and Country Planning of the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development.
Based on what's going on in St. Clair area, like around the Savannah, they have some big building going on. In St. Clair, next to the Oval, they have also a massive building going on. Anywhere you go, they have, in my opinion, they have a lot of buildings, a lot of houses, a lot of construction going on. And amazing, up to last week, we wanted a few thousand concrete blocks. Ansa Makal didn't have it in stock, Kusal didn't have it in stock. So we have to buy from a couple hardwares. And this is a sign that something going on, but I don't know if it's being reported or, but I think the construction sector going fine in Trinidad.
Right now, that is going on, because as soon as this is finished, we will do another project. We actually have the intention and the site already. It's just that, you know, because of your Trinidad experience, you can't really entertain necessarily multiple projects at the same time, because, you know, our support system is sort of, you know, sometimes it could be placed under too much strain, and then, you know, everything implodes. So I can tell you, you know, our intention is that as soon as this one is finished, we will start another one.
I do agree that there is increased activity in the construction sector, and that can be measured by a couple of things. One of the lead indicators is cement sales. Cement sales are up. They're up double digit, certainly close to the 20% range. The second area that we see it as a lead indicator is in our block sales. Our block sales are now back up, again plus 20%, and we're encouraged by that. As you know, we made a substantial investment in the concrete block business, and we made a substantial investment in the clay block business. One of the things, Kevin, that we have to be very careful with as a country is that we don't create what is called an asset bubble. In 2006, 2007, 2008, what happened is that we crowded out the private sector, and there were too many projects simultaneously. What that did is that it drove up aggregate prices, it drove up sand pricing, and it drove up block pricing. And ultimately, both the homeowner and the commercial owner did not get value. We have continued to be optimistic about the economy, and we've continued to invest in Trinidad and Tobago. From a construction standpoint, we have invested over $800 million in the construction sector. And that's perhaps the largest investment in the sector outside of the energy sector by any single player. We would have invested in a concrete block plant. We've invested in our windows business. We've invested in the HVAC business, which is our air conditioning business, bringing in new systems, and also to a large fan ventilation system. We would have invested on the concrete side. We would have expanded the range and menu of blocks. So not only 4x12, 6x12, 6x16, 8x8x16, but we'd have also invested in things like pavers, Omnia flooring systems, etc. And most importantly and most recently, we have invested, this is on the plant and equipment side only. I'm not talking about building and warehousing. And we'd have invested in our clay plant, which is a game changer and which is the most modern plant globally. So all of the elements around our construction business we have strengthened. What that means is that from a local content standpoint, we are ready to support the government in its infrastructural trust. We are ready to support the government in its commercial construction trust, and we're ready to support the government in its housing trust. We have the ability.
When we look at the landscape, the last few years, while it hasn't been very buoyant, I think on the flip side, the government has been quite successful in terms of stemming a lot of excess spending. So when we see very developed countries in Europe that are at the brink of bankruptcy, I think Trinidad, relative to them, has done fairly well. I have to mention as well, in terms of getting a project such as this to reality, it would have required a lot of planning, a lot of coordination with the various institutions. In large part, I think Town and Country historically has had a reputation of being very tardy, very slow, very unresponsive when it comes to various applications for projects. I think in our case, the Minister TEWARIE, I have to give him credit. He himself, once we made the request to meet, to present our proposal to him, he has been from day one very accommodating, very supportive. I think he has had a very pro-development stance, and not in a sense that is reckless, but I think he has a very sort of sound and balanced judgment in terms of what can add value to the nation, and not necessarily adding more of things that we already have. And I think it's a balance. I think it's important when we talk about sustainable development that we have proper planning.
To you, the ordinary citizen, whether it is that you wish to build a house, a home for yourself, whether you want to take advantage of the opportunities that we have now created in the urban footprints of Trinidad and Tobago and in the developing centers of Trinidad and Tobago, to have multi-family units developed on the places where you now have your homes, depending on the size of the plot, or whether you are an investor involved in the construction of homes or in the construction of apartment buildings or in the construction of office buildings. I want to take this opportunity to encourage you to come into Town and Country Planning, sit down with our officers there, work with them, make sure you do things right so that we can have orderly progress and orderly development in Trinidad and Tobago. We urge you and encourage you to come in and talk with us in order to make your investment work and in order to make your contribution matter to the ordinary citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and to the development process.